Try to imagine this. You're flying over the Balkans, and the closer you get to the Aegean, the more you realize the skies don't really belong to anyone else. They belong to Greece. These aren't just ordinary skies. They're a fortress, guarded by some of the most skilled pilots and advanced jets in all of Europe. And if you thought trying to mess with them was a good idea, well, let's just say you'd have an easier time convincing a Greek grandmother to let you leave the dinner table hungry. Greece's Air Force, officially the Hellenic Air Force, isn't just big, it's strategic. With more than 200 fighter jets in service, it has the largest and most modern fleet in the Balkans. We're talking upgraded F-16 Vipers, Mirage 2005s, sleek new French Rafales, and, soon enough, even F-35 stealth fighters. This isn't a force stuck in the past, it's one stepping firmly into the future. And the reason is simple: geography. Greece is a country of mountains and seas, dotted with over 200 inhabited islands. Some of those islands sit just a few kilometers from Turkey's coastline, which makes the air above them some of the most contested in the world. Covering this patchwork of land and sea requires speed, flexibility, and readiness that few air forces can match. That's why Greece has bases spread across both mainland and islands, allowing them to scramble jets in minutes if anyone decides to poke around where they don't belong. For Greece, the skies aren't just airspace, they're lifelines. Protecting them means protecting trade routes, islands, and sovereignty itself. And that's why, despite its modest size, Greece spends over 3% of its GDP on defense, one of the highest rates in all of NATO. In other words, Athens takes its Air Force about as seriously as it takes its souvlaki. And trust me, that's very serious. Of course, Greece's air dominance didn't appear out of thin air, pun fully intended. The Hellenic Air Force has its roots all the way back in 1930, and by the time World War II rolled around, Greek pilots were already making their mark. Despite being outnumbered and outgunned, they managed to put up a fight against both Italian and German forces. Think about it, little Greece, with outdated planes, taking on Mussolini's pride and even Hitler's Luftwaffe. It was a David and Goliath story, except David's slingshot was a biplane that rattled more than it roared. Fast forward to the Cold War, and things really started to change. Greece joined NATO in 1952, which meant steady access to Western training and technology. American F-84s, F-104 starfighters, and eventually F-4 Phantom IIs all found their way into Greek service. The Phantoms introduced in the 1970s are still flying today, proving that with enough Greek maintenance and a little stubbornness, even an aircraft designed before disco can still defend the homeland. But history didn't just give Greece new planes, it gave them real, constant practice. Tensions with Turkey over the Aegean never went away, and that meant Greek pilots were regularly intercepting and engaging in mock dogfights with Turkish jets. These weren't staged exercises, these were the real thing. That relentless, day-in and day-out training sharpened Greek pilots into some of the best in NATO. It's one thing to practice against allies at a training camp, it's another to spar with your neighbor every other week, like it's a Balkan family feud. So while other countries in the region were downsizing or clinging to old Soviet hardware, Greece kept investing, kept training, and kept pushing for modern upgrades. That legacy, born in World War II, hardened in the Cold War, and sharpened by rivalry, laid the foundation for why today the Hellenic Air Force is considered untouchable in the Balkans. Now, let's talk about the heart of Greek air dominance, the fighter fleet itself, because this isn't just a collection of planes, it's a layered system built to control the skies over the Balkans and beyond. First, the backbone, the F-16s. Greece operates around 150 of them, and many are being upgraded to the Block 72 Viper standard, the most advanced F-16 variant flying anywhere in Europe. With new radars, avionics, and weapons, these jets give Greece the speed and flexibility to handle just about any mission, from interception to deep strike. Then there are the Mirage 2005s, the French-built fighters that have become legends in the Aegean. These sleek delta-wing jets have repeatedly proven their worth in close-range encounters, and let's just say their presence makes certain neighbors across the sea a little nervous. The Mirages specialize in air superiority missions and carry the deadly MICA missiles, giving them a serious edge in dogfights. But the real showstoppers are the Rafale F-3Rs. Greece recently acquired 18 of these cutting-edge French fighters, and they're a game-changer. With AESA radar, stealth features, and the Meteor Missilem, one of the most advanced air-to-air weapons on the planet, the Rafales give Greece beyond visual range superiority. Basically, if a Balkan airspace scuffle ever turned serious, the Rafale would see you before you even realized you were being painted on radar. And the future looks even sharper. Athens has signed on for the F-35 Lightning II. That's right, stealth fighters are on the way. Once those arrive, Greece will leap into the top tier of global air power, combining stealth with its already powerful lineup. Imagine Rafales guiding in F-35s while upgraded F-16 Vipers sweep the skies. That's not just air defense, that's an aerial nightmare for anyone foolish enough to challenge it. And it's not just about the jets. Greece's arsenal includes advanced missiles like AMRAAMs, Meteors, and Scalp cruise missiles, capable of striking far beyond its borders. In other words, the Hellenic Air Force isn't limited to defending islands. It can project power deep into enemy territory. For a relatively small country, that's a serious force multiplier. So while some Balkan neighbors are still flying hand-me-down MiG-29s, or barely keeping ancient jets airworthy, Greece is fielding a mix of some of the most advanced fighters in the world. It's like showing up to a street race in a Ferrari while everyone else is trying to coax their old Ladas and Yugos to start. But having the best jets means nothing if the pilots aren't up to the task. And here's where Greece truly stands out. Greek pilots are widely regarded as some of the most skilled in NATO, consistently ranking among the alliance's top performers. Why? Because unlike many air forces that only train in controlled exercises, Greek pilots get real experience, almost daily. The constant tension with Turkey has turned the Aegean into an unending training ground. Incursions, interceptions, and mock dogfights have been happening for decades. For most NATO pilots, air combat is a rare exercise. For the Hellenic Air Force, it's Tuesday. This constant pressure has created a culture of razor-sharp reflexes, aggression, and improvisation. Think of it as the ultimate school of hard knocks, except instead of textbooks, you've got afterburners and live missiles on standby. Now, let's step back and compare Greece to the rest of the Balkans. Serbia, Bulgaria, and Romania all maintain fighter fleets, but most of them rely on small numbers of aging Soviet-era jets. Serbia operates a handful of MiG-29s. Bulgaria has been limping along with its own MiG-29 fleet, and Romania's main fighters are refurbished F-16s bought second-hand from Portugal. These forces are capable, yes, but they simply can't compare in scale, technology, or training tempo to Greece's Air Force. So, when you line it up, the picture is clear. Greece has not only more aircraft, but also more modern ones, better armed and flown by pilots with constant live experience. It's like comparing an Olympic sprinter to someone who jogs once a month. Sure, they're both runners, but one of them is going to finish the race before the other has even tied their shoes. And then, of course, there's NATO. Greece's Air Force isn't just defending Greek airspace. It's also a southeastern shield for the entire alliance. In a region full of political flashpoints, that makes Athens more than just a local player. It makes them one of NATO's most reliable frontline guardians. The future of the Hellenic Air Force looks even sharper. With F-35 stealth fighters set to join the fleet in the coming years, Greece will leap into a whole new era of air power. Combine those with Rafales, upgraded F-16 Vipers, and the tried-and-true Mirages, and you've got a lineup that can handle anything from close-quarters dogfights to long-range precision strikes. Add in drones, surveillance systems, and modernized air defenses. And Greece isn't just keeping up, it's pulling ahead. And let's not forget, defense spending here isn't some political afterthought. Greece continues to spend over 3% of its GDP on the military, one of the highest rates in NATO. That's not just about pride, it's about survival in a region where history shows you can't take peace for granted. When your backyard is the crossroads of Europe, Asia, and the Middle East, you don't cut corners on air power. So, why is Greece's Air Force untouchable in the Balkans? It's the perfect storm. Geography that demands vigilance, a fleet stacked with cutting-edge jets, pilots trained by constant real-world encounters, and a national commitment to staying one step ahead. And of course, we can't ignore the stereotypes because, honestly, they fit. Greece defends its skies with the same passion it defends its cuisine, its history, and its football chants. Neighbors might boast, but when it comes to the Balkans airspace, the message is simple. Don't mess with Greece unless you're prepared to get served like an undercooked souvlaki. For Greece, the skies aren't just territory, they're identity, their pride, and above all, they're untouchable.